This city has mining money, cotton money, wood money, farm money. Yeah, okay, we get it. But what we don't have is oil money. And I need every last dollar. So today, we're gonna drill like it's 1859. And that's going to begin with these two oil deposits. One is offshore and one is onshore. Now we already know which one is superior, so obviously we're going to start with offshore. And then once we're done that, we'll get the roads in and figure out onshore later. But there is two really big problems that we need to solve. The main offshore oil building needs to live somewhere in this vicinity, but the sea level is way too high. I would assume that the ships are going to hit the ground. Second, the offshore oil building has this main pier that needs to be extended out, and we're already lacking a whole bunch of space. I could see something like this being a pretty big traffic hazard, which means the first thing that we need to do is a whole bunch of terraforming. So I want to carve into the terrain. Now all we have to do is test this out and see if we have enough room. And that's pretty much perfect. Now there's two oil platforms that we can use. There's the semi-submersible oil platform, then there's the compliant tower oil platform. Now this one is designed for shallow waters, and given the fact that most of our water is shallow, this is the one that we're going to primarily focus on. Although to be honest, this is still way too shallow, so I'm going to do convenient retcons. And we're going to say that it was always at least this deep. Now I want to place the compliant towers in, and I only have one goal when I'm doing this. I want to do my absolute best to maximize the amount of oil that we're extracting from the water. Now all these buildings require is an oil pipe connection back into the main hub. And for efficiency, I'm going to try and feed all of these pipes into a main pipe. But these buildings don't generate any ships, and I do want to see at least one ship. So we are going to place the semi-submersible oil platform, and let's get that placed in right over here. Or never mind, there's no oil here. I was really trying to avoid doing this, but we're going to make an even bigger retcon. Now if anyone asks, the map was always like this. That's a fact. Now we can place in this building right here. Last up, all we have to do is get this connected in to our main hub. And I forgot how much I hate seaways. Really, my main goal was to make sure that there was tons of room for the existing ships to make their way through this seaway without the oil operations interrupting them too much. But then I had to keep moving everything because the seaway connections into this really do not like to be made. But I find if you do it on a corner, you can usually get it to be somewhat happy with you. Basically, the main idea is that there's no direct seaway connection into our oil operations from the main seaway. You have to branch off and take one of these back paths. But to get this one operational, all we have to do is create a route, and I'm going to call this route number 1, offshore oil. We just need to get the main hub building connected into some roads and provide utilities. I actually want to buy these tiles over here, because this finally gives us access to this shore, and that means we can take this 2-lane rural highway and connect it back into the alleyway over here. Let's formally upgrade this road to be the 2-lane highway. This new connection is going to become helpful, but not immediately, because we still need a main road for the development, the grid, the industrial, for whatever is going to exist over here. And thankfully, we already have a road ready to go. And that's this 2-lane highway branching off from our 4-lane. We are going to need a bridge though. Now we have the most important train connection. And this one is the most important because the foundation of the entire train network relies on this single track, which means we only have two options. We have to go over or we have to go under. And for the sake of keeping things simple, let's go over. But because there's going to be lots of heavy freight traffic taking these roads, we want to make sure that the slope is nice and gentle. But I don't want to carry it all the way down. I want it to terminate right here. And that's because this area is going to act as its own self-contained mini port. So let's have one connection that branches towards this area. And then we're going to have one that branches towards our oil hub and finally connects in to our building. Which means we should have utilities, and yes, we do. How much are we producing? 8.7 tons. Wow, that's basically nothing. Oh, but now we're producing 215 tons a second later, and that's much, much better. But the oil isn't even close to done yet, because the money isn't in producing the crude oil, and that is perfect timing. Thank you very much, Signature Building. The money is in refining the crude oil into a better product. And so in order to refine it, we're gonna need a grid, or at least a rough road layout. That way we have places for our buildings to sit. Let's add in a few important connections. So I stubbed this road off a long time ago, because the idea always was to send it down to here. And before I could even add a road in, we've unlocked the nanopolymer synthesis unit, which is the next step in the crude oil refinery. So let's quickly make this bridge and then connect back into our main road over here. And I really want to add in all of these signature buildings that we've unlocked. We have the fuel plant, the rocket fuel refinery, the nanopolymer synthesis unit, and with a few more industrial buildings, we'll also unlock the oil refinery. But to get all these buildings in, we're going to need a few different grids. So I'm going to quickly build those out. And there is the grid completely done. So obviously the oil industry is going to need workers, which is why I figured we could concentrate most of the residential towards these top areas. But then when I was about halfway done, I realized something. Oh, we've hit milestone 19. We're now a massive metropolis. What I realized though is the air pollution. So all the pollution from the geothermal power plant, the landfill, the recycling center, the water treatment plant, pretty much all of it is blowing towards the grid. But we're definitely gonna have to add workers, because the closest town is this one here. Or we could just zone it all in and pray that the air pollution doesn't reach them. Anyways, with all of this in place, let's add in some of our key buildings. First thing we're going to start with is storage, and we produce about 442 tons. So I think 1 kiloton should be good. I want to make sure to wrap that with an alleyway, just so that the vehicles would have access to both sides. Now let's add in the fuel plant further away from our storage tanks, because I can imagine that being a massive fire hazard. Next up, we have the rocket fuel refinery. Now I don't want to forget that we do have the onshore oil, and I want to make sure that we're taking advantage of that. So let's add in the rocket fuel refinery and the nanopolymer synthesis unit right in this corner. The closer we can get these buildings to our production, the easier time they're going to have refining the goods. And this one does have an upgrade. And of course, this upgrade boosts our industrial efficiency. Let's add on the boost. Right now, industrial is making $18 million. It's quite literally the backbone of our entire economy. Now we're so close to unlocking the oil refinery, and I have an idea on how to cheese it. Yeah, that's what I thought. The second we place the chemical plant in, it unlocks this building. I'm going to save that for the port, because the only one I want is the oil refinery. It's going to be a perfect fit. I want to place the oil refinery right beside the fuel plant. And now I want to add a key wall to the back of this building. And that really helps sell the idea for me that this oil refinery is shipping their goods directly from the water. Now the oil refinery takes petrochemicals and chemicals and turns them into plastic. The fuel plant takes grain and turns it into petrochemicals. The rocket fuel refinery takes crude oil and turns it into petrochemicals. And the nanopolymer synthesis unit takes mineral and crude oil and turns them into chemicals. So aside from minerals, we have a pretty self-sustaining supply chain here. It looks like we are going to need more grain and more minerals. And thankfully we have a raw ore deposit, but we also have oil. So here's what I'm thinking we do. We're going to add in 2 oil buildings here, and then closer to the water, this is where we're going to add in the ore mining. There is the ore, there is the oil. I think both of these industries look awful, so I'm gonna try and hide as much as I can with some trees. Wait a minute, what? The oil tower is on fire? I didn't even know this could happen. I don't think we have fire coverage. No, we definitely do not have fire coverage. And obviously it has to be a helicopter. which means we're gonna have to unlock the Firefighting Helicopter Depot. It costs 2 points. We only have 112 points left. I know it's kind of crazy, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. And we're gonna place this right where the rocket fuel refinery is. And look, we already have one dispatched. Okay, perfect. Put that fire out, please. Oh, you're kidding. We were just a second too late. The water's dropping right now. Thankfully, we can just rebuild it, so there's no real consequence to us at all. Now, these two buildings, they gotta move. Their placement made better sense when there wasn't a giant oil field beside it. It's fine though, because I think it's gonna make more sense if our oil refinery buildings are all within the same complex. Let's check in to see how our production is doing. So 455 tons of crude oil every month, and this building has 377% efficiency. What does that even mean? Now the good news is we have a 61 ton surplus in metal ore and a tiny little sliver, 26 tons of crude oil. So our production is looking solid. Now I've gone ahead and put everything in a district because I want to know how many employees. 764. I guess that's actually a good thing though, because we're not seeing the not enough employee icons. So now we're producing oil offshore and onshore. We're producing a whole bunch of iron ore that is feeding our oil refineries. Those oil refineries are producing a whole bunch of goods for the city. So there's only a few more important things that we have to do. First, let's check the air pollution, and it's not too bad. What about the ground pollution? It's also not that bad. So let's roll the dice. Everything to the right of this road is just going to be some basic low-density residential, and I'm going to get that in very quickly. And so far so good. Doesn't seem like we have any pollution, although we do have a death care and a healthcare problem. Not surprising considering I didn't add a single service. And I think given where they are, these people are going to need all the services they can get. So I'm going to make everything within this boundary one district, and let's place a very basic healthcare center. We'll put that right on Cozy Street and bulldoze these houses. Set this to only operate in this district. And we'll do the same thing for this district over here. But let's place the clinic in this lot, and it's going to double as a park. Now for death care, I'm getting really sick of death care. No matter how many crematoriums I place, I can't seem to fix it. So because of that, I'm going to go insane over here. We're going to add in 2 crematoriums, and we're going to give them every single upgrade. For fire coverage, we do have the helicopter depot, but I think we can do a little bit better. Let's add in the Southwestern Fire Station. I think the Vanilla Police Headquarters can work over here. Let's quickly check to see parks, and yeah, the parks are not doing too well. So let's have one park right here, and everyone loves that. And now for these 2 districts, we're in the green. And so the last service that we have is Post. This is kind of turning into a service district, so we might as well just add it right here. And I almost forgot schools, but I really don't want to put a school on a 2-lane road without sidewalks. We'll add in the UK elementary school. And of course, this area is going to need a massive high school. I do want to try and keep that away from our industry though, which means right here is going to be a perfect fit. Only one more service left, and that is our telecom. And we're so close to being perfect. Wait, what happened to the university? How can our rich people be happy if they don't have good internet? But how many telecom towers is the game gonna make me place? The only good solution I have is to add the modern telecom building, because not only does it boost range, it also boosts network capacity. We only have to bulldoze 2 businesses. Don't ever complain about not enough customers, or this is what's gonna happen. You'll get replaced with some office. Now show me all green. Perfect, okay. Now I can stop panicking. The rich university is gonna be perfectly fine. And let's just place one more telecom tower right there. And that means all of our services are now perfect and ready to go. Let's add in a bit of commercial, and I'm gonna try and keep that closer to the parks. And although the Australian commercial isn't the greatest fit, it does feel more small town to me. How can you already have not enough customers? I just zoned you in. Okay, that's it. We are now forever dropping the commercial tax down to 8%. That brings us down to $350K per hour. And we're making $21 million from industrial. It's just so silly. And to get off topic for a second, I really like the Australian commercial. It just has such a good feel to it, and there's nothing really like it in the game. So that's going to be our commercial, which means I'm going to fill the rest of this grid in with residential. I'm going to cross my fingers, and hopefully we don't see any signs of pollution or any problems. That is all of the residential done. Before we move on to finishing this, we of course need to add some office, because these buildings do give us bonuses. We have the Launch Payload Control Center, and then we have the Steel Building, and the Energy Lobbying Office. Yes, we definitely need the lobbying office for energy. I want to place the Energy Lobbying Office directly on the waterfront. We'll even place it close to a bus stop, and while we have medium density demand, let's get rid of all the row homes, and we'll replace it with some southwestern medium density. Now we just have the Steel Building, and this is the only good place that I can find. Now we're getting 2 extra bonuses from these buildings, which means the industrial efficiency is probably just even more broken at this point. The casting fabricator has an efficiency of 436%, and it makes $1.1 million every month. So now we only have one more thing left to do, and we do have warehouse demand. Let's try and zone some in. Never mind, I take that back. We have no warehouse demand apparently. So I'm gonna go through, add a whole bunch of industrial, make this area a little bit more ugly. And there we go. There's all the plopping done, there's all the industrial in, even a little bit of detailing, and I think it came out really nice. Is our oil company profitable? Yeah, they're making $146K every month, but they don't have enough employees, and that's ruining their efficiency. Only 130%? Why can't they be like this business here and have 400% efficiency? Sorry, 413% efficiency. And for the oil fields, they're still profitable, and they're making quite a bit of oil too. Wait a minute, we're making $612,000 per hour. The industrial now makes $26 million. So I would say that is a very successful oil industry. And that was definitely a short one. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Today's shows go to Jake Hill, Gary Key, Mississippi Mike Key, Aiden Fernelski, Dylan Barnett, James Robinson 23, CNN Osmir, Soyen, The Poop Sheriff, Narwhal, Tank 110106, Sebastian Gwynn 7807, Tom Beck, and to every single person who supports this channel. I genuinely can't say thank you enough. If you want sneak peeks, save file access, and much more, you can join us over on Patreon or YouTube. But other than that, I'll see you in the next one.